good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Hello everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It is Monday, it is 12/12, and you know what that means? It means I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and then get to my guest, but 12/12 is actually, let's put it out there now, Bobby, it is Frank Sinatra's birthday today.
That's right.
And it's ironic because this gentleman sitting next to me actually worked with and for Frank Sinatra, so I'm excited about that. I don't know, Bobby, if you could put up that pic of him real quick. If not, we'll just talk about my weekend real quick. There it is, and that was a sign. That was signed.
That was signed, yes, he signed
That was
for me,
signed
yes.
just for you, Joe.
Right, right.
All right, so let me talk about my weekend real quick. My weekend was eventful, as always. What's going on with my hair? It's like kind of sticking up a little bit. I was supposed to do the Triad Theater Friday night. Did not happen due to circumstances. Whatever happened. I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, Saturday was the cousins' Christmas party at my brother's house in Massapequa. And we had a great time seeing my cousins from Staten, Italy, came to Long Island, and it was great to see the kids because they're all getting so big, and loved it. And then yesterday is usually laundry day and football, and I actually went to Bayside yesterday. I went to Queens with my girl Kristen, went to go visit my girlfriend Doreen, had a lovely visit. So that was my weekend, and I want to get to my guest, but I'm doing something tonight that I don't normally do with any guest. Joe Cirillo is here. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine.
And I had Frank Mancuso on my show, and he said, you have to have Joe, you have to have Joe. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have Joe. And Joe was so kind. He hand-delivered this book because we happen to be neighbors.
I went to your house.
We're neighbors, and he wrote this fabulous book called An Offer I Couldn't Refuse. And I could not put it down, and I said to Joe, I want you on the show, but I don't want you just for an hour. I need you for 2 hours.
I'll be here for 2 hours.
So what we're going to do is, obviously we're going to be live tonight, okay? We're doing my hour from 8 to 9, and then next Monday night, you have to tune in to see part 2 of Joe and I together.
Right.
And I've never, in the 4 years I'm doing Tea Time and the 3 years I'm doing it here, I've never had a guest on for 2 hours back to back. But after reading your book, there is no way I can condense your life, your amazing life and career into 55 minutes. It just wasn't going to happen. So I'm excited. I'm excited that, let's give some shout outs. Tommy's watching, and Frank's watching, and Michael's watching. Thank you everyone for watching, tuning in. Please like the show. Please share it. Tea Time is on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, and we're on every Saturday. We're going to be on TV this Saturday.
No, watch it
at
on
11
Saturday.
a.m.
Yeah.
Channel 20 for people who get Optimum. In the meantime, there's so much to talk to, so I'm glad that I don't have to rush through this 55 minutes with him, but I just want to get everything in. And you wrote an amazing book, again, Joe Cirillo. It's Cirillo, An Offer I Couldn't Refuse. And you can actually find the book on Amazon or Kindle,
right?
Correct? And it says from the NYPD to Hollywood and everything in between, because you've done it all, my friend. And I want to start off by saying that you are originally from the Boogie Down Bronx.
Right, South Bronx.
South Bronx, 100 what?
148th Street.
148th Street.
A hun. Yeah, we had the lazy tongue. You know, it's a funny thing. I saw a car driving by not too long ago.
Yeah.
And it said, 116th Street. And I had to stop the woman. I says, oh, I got to talk to you. 116. And then I explained what I did.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we never said 148th Street.
Right. You
148,
never,
everybody, yeah,
it
all
was,
of
it was
us.
just fast.
Yeah, of course.
And slang
Right.
back then. And you were one of 8? The
Yes.
oldest, right? The oldest one of 8?
No. My older siblings were born in Italy.
Oh, they were in Italy.
Yeah, and I was the firstborn in the States. I
In
was
the
number
States.
4.
Okay, you're number 4 in the States. They came from Italy.
Yes.
Your father was a shoemaker,
Yes.
but basically came here, like most immigrants,
Right.
with barely nothing.
Yes, of course.
But he actually had a couple of businesses.
Yes, he had 2 shops, 2 shoe repair shops. So we weren't that bad during the Depression, but of course everyone was bad.
Yeah, well, it affected everybody.
Yeah.
And I know that you were a very interesting student in the sense that you loved to sing.
Yes.
You were in the Glee Club.
I was in the Glee Club in junior high school.
Right.
And when I went to high school at Benjamin Franklin,
Yeah.
I went into the choral club.
Right.
And that club, when I say club, that class was all the students who were singers and put on shows. And we went through high school in the same class. And all we did was put on showboat, different shows.
Right, right.
And I was singing then, yes.
And who did you like to listen to growing up as far as music?
I used to listen to William B. Williams on WNEW. Yeah, and also at midnight they had Milkman's Matinee. But anyway, wow, I'm going back. But when I listened to William B. Williams, he always had the crooners on. He had Sinatra,
I love that.
Bing Crosby,
Yes.
Andy Russell,
Yeah.
and he called it the Battle of the Baritones.
Uh-huh.
And every week he would have sort of a battle between them to
Right.
see who would be the better
Now, you
singer.
considered a baritone yourself?
Yeah, I was alto. I think I
Okay,
was
yeah.
an alto.
I'm an
yeah.
alto, actually,
yeah,
too.
alto.
Yeah, because
yes.
I was in chorus
Yeah.
in middle school, junior high school, we called it back then. And we actually put out an album. We
Wow,
made
wow.
an
No, we-
album.
we didn't
No
do an
one
album.
bought it. I mean, it was just for the students.
Right,
we
right.
bought it
Right, of
in
course.
school. But we actually put out an album that was so exciting to do.
Right.
And then to hear. And then to actually hold the
Oh,
vinyl.
yeah, that's great.
You know?
I don't have anything from when I was singing.
Yeah,
Nothing at
no,
all.
no,
I mean,
no.
nothing at
But
all.
you, you were very creative in school.
Yes.
You kind of touched every form
A
of the
lot.
arts.
Yes, yes.
Literally, you were an artist as
yes,
well.
yes. I when I was a young boy in elementary school, I did I love cartoons, so
Yeah.
I did a cartoon, and it was called Aloysius Ham and Eggs. I still remember the name, and I give it out to the kids in the class
Yeah.
because I love cartoons. I eventually ended up going to the cartoonist and illustrator school. Instead of I actually went.
You did.
Yeah.
But wait, that was much
Oh, yeah,
later
that's-
on.
yeah, we'll go
because
get
you
to that
actually
later.
had an opportunity to go.
Yes.
And you didn't. Your art teacher said you need to go to an art school.
Right, right.
And you said, I'd rather go to a high school where my friends are going.
Right, exactly.
Right?
That was a big mistake.
But you see, but you know what, Joe? There are no accidents in life, and you see how it came around.
Yes,
It
yes.
came back to
Yes,
you.
of course.
When it was supposed to.
See, yeah.
That's how I feel sometimes.
I feel the same way.
Right?
Yeah.
Things happen for a reason.
Incredible, incredible.
Right? There's
yes.
some of them are life lessons, and then some of them you're like, I think it got away, and then it came back.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So speaking about that, after school,
Right.
you were actually drafted.
Oh, you're talking about in the service?
I'm talking about service.
Oh,
you
yeah,
were,
yeah.
you were drafted
Yes,
into
January
the
2nd,
Army.
1952, I was drafted.
Yes. We have a picture. We have a couple of pictures of you. With,
yeah. I guess you have the one with me and Eddie Fisher.
No, that one I don't think I have that one.
That's my
unfortunately.
buddies.
Those
yeah.
are your buddies.
That's
but-
right on the front line.
Yes.
That's
and then you
Neil.
ended up being a cook while you were there?
Yeah, no, what happened, I was on the front line and we were in combat all the time.
Yes.
And what happened, all the cooks rotated. And
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
the cooks
I
rotated.
missed that in the book.
So
I know
now
you
they had
cooked.
no cooks. So the head cook said they looked through the MOS of each, MOS is your records.
Right.
And they said, oh, this guy could cut meat. He was a meat cutter. We'll bring him in and teach him to cook.
Okay.
And that's what they did. They brought me into the kitchen.
Yeah, because you had a lot of, when you were younger, just to back up a little bit, sorry, because I don't have to skip the gun tonight because I got you for another hour. But you worked as a very, very young kid.
Worked constantly.
And a lot of people did back then,
Right.
especially during the Depression, to
Yes,
make an
yes.
extra scuttles.
Yes, exactly.
So tell me a little bit about the many things you did. I know you didn't like shining shoes.
No,
Your
no.
dad told you to shine shoes. You didn't like that.
No, what I did, I hooked up through a friend.
Yes.
His brother-in-law owned a sausage company.
Right.
It was called Pride Products, and he got me to work there. So I ended up making sausages. But the big thing was delivery, and I
Right.
used to deliver all over the city.
Right.
As a young boy, I used to carry like 50 to 75 pounds of sausage on my shoulder.
yeah.
And then I'd get on the train and I'd go to the ends of Brooklyn, Queens. I knew almost every street in the Bronx and Brooklyn and Queens as a young boy.
And you're young, and you know what it is like a kid today at that age wouldn't be traveling like that.
Right, right. And I was traveling, carrying big bags of sausage.
Yeah.
And then eventually they decided they're going to get in automobiles and have drivers.
Right.
And when they did that, no one knew the routes, so they had me as a young kid going
Right.
with the drivers and showing them where all the routes were, all the
Okay,
stores.
because you knew where they were.
I knew everyone, yeah.
But you were too young to drive.
No,
obviously.
of course. I was maybe 14, 15, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so that's, yeah. So
And
I-
you loved saving your money
Yes.
and going to the movies.
Oh, of course.
All day. Because back then it was like, I don't know, how
5 cents.
5 cents and you could spend like 6 hours
Yeah,
there.
right.
Right?
Yeah, you saw 2 movies, main features,
Right.
a western,
Right.
a chapter or a serial,
Right.
the weekly news, the newsreel. Then you saw about 4 or 5 cartoons. Then you saw the Three Stooges. So
an
you were,
all-day
you were
event.
there 6 hours. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know you're one of your faves and mine were the Bowery Boys.
Oh yeah, I love the Bowery
I
Boys.
loved them.
Yes, yes, I did.
It was great.
Leo Gorcey, yeah. Dead and Kids, the Bowery Boys.
Did a lot of those characters remind you of people from your neighborhood?
Oh yeah, definitely. I grew up in an Italian neighborhood.
Yes.
And in reality, you either became a cop or you became
A wise guy.
A wise guy in a
Right,
mob.
right.
And I have friends that went all the way to the top, you know. And
Not in uniform as
No,
a police officer. Just
no, no,
Just,
in
just
both-
clarifying that.
no, in both. You
Right,
know, I
right.
mean, a lot of my friends.
Well, yeah,
w-
yeah.
The funny thing about it, when I got back from Korea,
Yeah.
the guys all told me, "Hey, Joe, we're going to take the cop test." I said, "I'm not going to take." They said, "Come on, we'll take the cop test." I was the only one that passed.
I love this story. I love that story. I love it
was
because
the-
they all wanted to become a
Right.
cop.
Yeah, and
And they talked you into it, and you're the only one who passed
I was the
test.
only one that passed, right? So I became a cop, and my other friends went the other
Great.
direction.
It's a
But
great
but we were
story.
always friends, you know.
Yes,
you know.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I knew some really big.
You didn't have to arrest any of your friends, did you?
No, never.
Thank God. That would have
No,
been good.
no, I never did. I did see one when I was when I was getting back from Korea. They had me in a stockade detachment before I was let go.
Yeah.
And here I am at the gate, and a guy from my neighborhood comes, and he's right there. He says, "Joe," and he said, "Well, I want you to call my wife, call my girlfriend, call." And I says, "I can't do that. I
Yeah.
couldn't fraternize, you know."
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
actually met one of my buddies. Yeah.
Wow.
Who was in a prisoner? Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, you put in your 20 years,
Yes, I did.
but while you were there, a lot of very, very interesting things happened to you. Because obviously, you know, your book, you know, explains it all. Again, it's called, I'm not going to keep plugging it all night. An Offer I Couldn't Refuse. But this isn't the actual first title you wanted. You actually wanted a different title.
I had different titles.
You
yes,
did, you
yes.
did, and actually I wrote down one of them if I could find it amongst all this paperwork
yeah, I'm
because
trying to think.
this went on and on and on.
You did. You done good.
You wanted to call it something else, and if I find it, I will mention it.
I think one of them was "You done good," and the reason I wanted to use that because when I was in the series with Joe Don Baker,
Yes.
that was one of his lines that you know who he was. You know, like
Yeah.
Telly used to say, "Crocker," you know,
Right.
and "Who loves your baby?" But his line was, "You done good."
Who wrote that for Telly? Do you know who wrote that line? Who loves your baby?
I actually think he did it. I think he.
And the other
actually-
thing is with the lollies. He
Yeah.
had lollies because he was trying to stop smoking.
Yes, he didn't want to smoke. And,
didn't wanna
and-
smoke.
Yes, and he took to lollipops.
Right. Because you and Telly Savalas were like this.
Yes, I
for a
lived.
long
I actually
time.
lived with him. Yes,
You
I
did. You lived
actually
with him. You did a lot of traveling back and forth from New York to California and Vegas and all
Yes,
over the place
yes.
as well. You had a very, very, very understanding wife.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I don't know how
Norma,
she put up with
right?
it. Yes.
Your first wife, Norma. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, you were working in the 20th precinct?
Yes, the 20 precinct
20
on the Upper West
precinct,
Side.
correct.
Yes.
And a lot of celebrities around there.
Oh
Joe.
yeah, yeah.
And you met quite a few.
Yeah. Actually, I got an assignment at the Museum of Natural History.
Yes.
And I was actually there for 7.5 years.
Yes.
And right across the street from the museum is a big building called the Beersford Apartments.
Right.
And a lot of celebrities lived there. Red Buttons, Phil
Yep.
Silvers,
Yep.
Abe Burrows, Laura Nero, Stephen Eady, Mike Nichols.
And these are people who you saw
Alan Funt.
all the time.
Yeah, and I used to
all the
talk.
time.
They call me Joe the Cop.
Joe the cop. They knew you're on the beat. We're safe.
Yeah, they. Well, I think it was more that a lot of times they'd pull their car into the bus stop because there was a bus stop where the building was, and I'd be walking by and they'd want to move. I said, no, it's okay, just stay there. So they got to like me.
Yeah,
And they call me Joe the Cop. Yes.
That's nice. And one day, Mr. Nichols
Yes, Mike Nichols.
befriended you.
Yes, we got to be friends.
Yes.
And what I would do on my lunch hour, I would go to his office, have lunch there, and talk to him, talk to the people in his office. Occasionally, I did some favors for him.
Yeah.
And of course, he did favors for me. In fact, I used to go to all the Broadway shows.
Yeah,
I
he
said-
used to send you to Broadway shows
Yeah.
left and right. You'd sit, what, fifth row,
Fifth
middle?
row center.
Hello?
All the time, yeah.
Nothing better than that.
Yeah, always. And
I don't think there's a show that you haven't seen. I mean,
oh
you
no,
know,
in those days I saw
In those days,
everything.
you saw
yeah.
them all.
And later in my life, when I was much older, I did go to Broadway quite a bit. Yeah,
And
I
you
saw.
being from a musical background, I know you really appreciated
Right.
the musicals a lot.
Yeah, I wrote.
Did you have a favorite musical?
Yes,
back then?
I like Fiddler and My Fair Lady.
Okay.
They were my two favorites.
Okay.
Fiddler, My Fair Lady.
What was the last show you've seen?
The last show was recently. I saw. It wasn't on Broadway. It was out here.
Off Broadway? Oh, it was here.
The Chas Palminteri's Bronx Tale.
Oh, his one-man
Yeah.
show. What, he was at the Paramount?
No, I saw the musical. I saw the musical
Oh,
on Broadway,
okay.
and
Oh,
then
I
I
did
saw it
too.
out here at the Engelman Theater
Oh,
on
okay,
the
okay,
island.
okay.
And then I also go to the Argyle Theater where I saw a couple of
we
shows.
did Bat Boy there.
What's that?
Yeah, we did Bat Boy
Well,
there
yeah,
a couple of times.
Yeah, I've been there. In fact, I talked to them about possibly doing my show.
Yeah.
But they said they can't. But I do have someone, hopefully they're still interested.
Yeah.
They like my Bagels and Luck, and they said they want to do it in 2023, so it's coming up.
Wow.
So I'm going to contact them, see if they're still interested.
Right.
Hopefully, that's my dream to get the one of the musicals going.
You know, you did you did apply your art
Yes.
to you being a police officer.
Yes.
You want to explain how that happened?
Yeah, well, like I said, I went to art school, you know,
Right.
in Benjamin Franklin,
Yeah.
and junior high school. I won the art medal,
Yes.
and then I did go when I was in the Army. When I got out, before going into the Army, I was going to CCNY. I was studying government, and I got drafted. When I got back, instead of going back to college, I went to this cartoonist and illustrator school,
Right.
which now is School of Visual Arts.
School of Visual Arts.
And I have background in art.
Right.
So what happened in 1958, the police department decided to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to try composite drawings of people that commit crimes.
Right.
So they detailed me to the BCI, which is the Bureau of Criminal Identification.
Right.
And they had me there. They got me an easel. They got me a pad,
Right.
everything I needed. And then they had people come in and speak to me.
Were
It was
you-
very
were you-
simple.
Were you one of the first
I was one
people that did that for them?
I could almost. I think I might be the very first.
Wow.
But when the time came that they wanted to start the unit, he wanted me there, and I said, no, I want to go back to my command. I wanted to get back to my
That's not really
command.
what you wanted to
No,
do.
not that I didn't want to do it. It was great.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed being in my precinct. You know, I was in a
Right.
radio car.
Right.
And the day went fast.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of buddies. So.
Well, we're going to talk about what they called you back in the day when we come back from our first break. So don't go away. More with Joe when we come back.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. I have Joe Cirillo, and Joe is an actor, he's a writer, he's a former bodyguard, he's an artist, he's a singer, he's a model. The man has done everything, and I'm excited to say that this is part one tonight. And next Monday, you have to tune in to part two. That's right. Hello, Pasquale is watching, and Ann is watching, and Mickey's watching, and Tommy. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. Please like it. Please share it. Tell your friends, and tell them also. This is called An Offer I Couldn't Refuse. And it says, from the NYPD to Hollywood, Joe Cirillo, Cirillo, and it's on Amazon and Kindle. Get it. It is an amazing, incredible read. And we're going to talk about his career, his life, his journey. Just to mention, I got to throw some names out there just to entice people, because you people, you know, worked with Sinatra, worked with Telly Savalas, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. De Niro, Pacino. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's just, hello, Burt Reynolds, Bill Murray, Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, Meryl Streep, Sophia Loren, Joe Piscopo, Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones, Streisand, Madonna, Danny Aiello, Bon Jovi, Connie Francis, Katharine Hepburn, I mean, Richard Gere, Sean Young, on and on and on and on and on. And you're going to hear a lot of stories about all these people. So you have to tune in. You have to tune in next Monday, too, because I don't know what we're not going to touch upon tonight that we're going to continue this. But he was a police officer, and back then, they didn't call you police officers or cops.
No, we were called patrolmen.
Patrolmen.
Yeah.
And once again, you did not have walkie-talkies.
No.
You did not have cell phones.
We didn't have vests.
What did you have? You had
nothing. We had a nightstick.
The nightstick.
And a billy club.
But if you had to contact the police,
We had to bang on the street 3 or 4 times, and hopefully the officer on the next post would hear it.
right? And there was when were there the call boxes? When you
Call-
have to get
they
to
were
a call box.
What they did when you turned out, they assigned you a number. Let's say 15.
Okay.
So that meant that every 15 minutes on the hour you had to call in.
Oh wow.
This way they know you're okay, and then or they might give you an assignment.
Right.
So that was the call box thing. But we didn't have radios. We didn't
No.
have vests.
No.
We didn't have, even in the radio cars. I remember when we were driving, we had to put chains on the tires.
Wow.
Yeah. If it snowed, we had to put chains on the tires.
Yeah.
And many times there was no heat in the car. It was crazy, but we still loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Yeah. So while you're there, again, we'll get back to Mike Nichols and Broadway shows
Right.
and all that fun stuff. And he did you a few favors, and you did him a few favors.
Yes.
And so the bottom line is, people listen to this story, because it doesn't get better than this. Comes up to you one day and says what?
he says, Joe, how would you like to be in the movies? I said, the movies? I said, I'm not an actor. He says, don't worry, we can make you an actor. And that was it.
And
he called Paramount Pictures.
what was your first movie, Joe?
The Godfather.
The Godfather. Okay,
Yes.
The Godfather. And you had lines.
Yes, I had lines. This is the real funny part of all this.
Okay.
I had lines, I had a scene, and Abe Vigoda was in the scene
Yes,
with me.
he was in the background. Bobby, you
Right.
want to put up that picture? We have a couple pictures of you in Staten, Italy, because that was
Right.
filmed on Staten Island.
That was filmed on Staten Island.
And we have, that was the wedding scene.
That's right. That's the actual
There's
scene.
Abe. Abe's right behind you on the right side.
Right, and that's where I had dialogue.
Yes, you had
That
dialogue.
scene is not in the movies.
It got edited out.
out, yes. But I was told...
What was the line?
Oh, I can't remember. It was a break it up, something like that. Hey, come
right.
on, cut it out. You're at a wedding.
And there's
there's me
Talia
in Back of the
Shire.
Bride.
There you are.
That's my wife with me.
Yes, Norma was in the movie with
Yes,
you.
yes, she
so
was.
that's his actual wife standing
Yes,
there.
she was there in the movie with me.
How exciting was
but
that?
You'll see me in the movie in different scenes.
Yeah.
But you won't see my speaking part.
Right.
Now, here's the best of all. Since 1973,
Yes.
I get residuals almost every month.
Yes, you do.
From Godfather.
Yes, you do.
Because of my lines.
Yes, I
Even
know.
though it's not in the movie.
Isn't that great?
And I still get checks every month. Every month. Some are big, some are
It's
small.
great.
Some may be $15, some
Yes.
may be $100.
Well,
You know,
I told you that story about The Godfather. The producers came to my dancing school and picked everybody but me because I
Right.
didn't look Italian enough. Until today, they get residual checks too. I mean,
Yes.
they're on like pennies now, but they still get a check.
I do very well with Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters, I get $500.
Well, let's jump to. We're going to jump to go.
Okay.
We'll jump to Ghostbusters since you brought it up. You were in Ghostbusters.
Yes.
And Bobby has a couple of pictures of you. Well, put up him as a cop because they're in order. So let's show you in uniform.
All right.
So Bobby's going to put up the pictures of you in uniform.
That was actually my first
That's your
headshot.
first headshot. Yes, I was
Yeah.
going to say that's your first headshot. Look at you. Boy, you don't age. You're like Dick Clark.
Yeah, that's my first ones.
Yeah,
Yes,
those
yes.
are great.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And then after that should be a couple of pictures of.
Oh,
no,
that's me in Splash.
You actually did Splash before Ghostbusters, right?
I think so. They were all around
I
the
know.
same time.
They're all around the same time, but there you are.
Yes. And when,
the movie
in
Splash.
I was also security. That's me in
Okay.
Ghostbusters.
That's you in Ghostbusters. And what's the line that you say that everybody comes up
Yeah.
and remembers you?
You do your job, pencil neck. Don't tell me how to do mine. I can't believe they all remember me for that line. I've been in series.
and
I've
there's
been
one
in
more.
movies.
There's one more after that. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's
when you're walking
when we
with
first
him.
walked in. Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah,
So how much fun was that to work with Bill Murray and Dan
Oh,
Aykroyd and
incredible.
that crew?
Incredible. They were really nice. We worked in New York to
Yes,
do the exteriors.
yes.
And then I flew to California. I did a week in California.
Yeah.
In the containment center, which was another firehouse in L.A.
Right.
And we worked in the basement and upstairs, of course.
And in
But-
Splash, just to interrupt you quickly, in Splash you actually also did stunt work.
Oh yeah, I did.
And that bumps your salary up too.
Oh, I did a stunt for Eugene Levy.
Yes.
Where he's trying to stop an army truck. He has a broken arm.
Right.
He's trying to stop an army truck. So that was me. I tried to stop it, and I had to leap out of the way.
Right.
And I had to go into, these elevators that come up in the street.
Yeah, you had a phone.
And I had to fall into it. And the thing was, the drivers of the truck said, "Joe, we cannot see you."
So you had to really time it to the T.
Exactly. They said, "Joe, we cannot see you."
Wow.
It's you have to be the one to jump out of the way in time.
Yeah.
And thank God.
Did you get it on the first take?
No, the reason I did it, yeah. But what happened? They said, "No, we see the metal. There was a metal grating all around, and they had put padding."
Right.
Says we see the padding, so
Right.
we did it over. Now we did it 3 times.
Okay.
And they gave me $800 every time I did it. So I did it 3 times.
That's not
So,
bad.
No, it was great.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, there was another time you did a stunt. We're on stunts now, so we might as well
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah.
With a tiger. And
Oh.
not for nothing, I'm reading this.
Yes.
Okay, I'm reading this about this tiger, and I'm crapping my pants for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, that's the truth. But it was like over 100 degrees, and then I'm in this cage with a tiger. First of all, when I was given the role, I could tell you that story because it was supposed to go to Dana Andrews, the role.
Yes.
So
and this was in L.A.
No, this was in New York.
Oh, was it in New York?
It was in
okay,
New
I
York.
wasn't sure where it was being
No,
filmed. Okay.
no, it wasn't filmed in New York. The auditions were in New York.
Okay. Yeah,
And I remember going up and I heard it was supposed to be Lyle Bediger or
Yeah.
Dana Andrews. So
Right.
I'm over there. They gave me sides and I said, "They want a big star. I'm not gonna do that." I said, "I'll just wing it."
Right.
So I thought about Anthony
Quinn.
Anthony Quinn, how he would do it.
I
So I
love
went
him,
in the
loved
office
him,
and I
loved
start yelling, screaming. I banged on the desk and the guy.
You
goes,
scared the director.
Yeah, he says, you scared the hell out of me. And he says, and I got the role. And I had to go down to the Carolinas. And that's where we shot it. But
Right,
they
right.
said there's a scene with a tiger, but I won't be in the cage with the tiger.
Well, that's what they told
Yes,
you, but that
well,
wasn't the case.
No, and then when I was in the cage with the tiger, they're filming it, and they're standing there with a gun and everything. And the guy says, "No, it doesn't look good. The tiger's not doing anything." Now they get a big stick and they're provoking the tiger.
Right,
to-
because he wasn't moving.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I says, "Oh, well." Anyway, we got through the whole shoot, but it was crazy.
It's still scary, let me tell
Oh
you.
yeah, no, of course. I was in with a bunch of tigers.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and-
No, I don't know.
And then the other stunt that was a big major one was in James Cagney's last movie.
Ragtime.
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 Yes.
Yes.
I did a stunt where they had me up at early morning. It was
Yes.
going to be filmed at dawn.
That was in 1981, baby.
Yeah, and what happened was they had 5 cameras. They're going to blow up this place. And the director kept coming over to me. "You got to get this right. You have to get it right because once the set is blown, that's it." I said, "Okay."
Yeah, there's no way re-blowing it again, right?
So I got nervous over it.
Wow.
And so that he said, "When that thing goes off," he says, "I want you to leap in the air." I didn't have to do that. When that thing went off, a big wheel from a carriage flew across, and then I
Wow.
leaped in the air.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a dangerous stunt. I never saw it actually.
Really?
I have the photo of it.
Wow.
Have the
You were
photo.
also in Sweet Liberty with Alan Alda was
Yes.
in that in 1986. You did stunts for that.
Yes, yes.
Also, behind the Poseidon Adventure, you did
Oh
stunts.
yes, I did
You
Poseidon.
Did
Yes, yes.
that. FX
FX. Yes.
did that back in 1986. So you gotta
Yeah, I did everything.
stunts. Yeah,
I
you
did
did
stunts.
them.
I did acting. I did everything.
You did everything. You did
Yeah,
a little
and
of
on
everything.
that,
What?
which was it? FX? No, Poseidon.
Oh, Poseidon. Yeah.
I was. I did that with Paul Pacerni, and it was one scene that we did,
Mm-hmm.
and I met a lot of actors there and became friends with actors on that set too.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
a lot of actors, over the years. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going to take my next break. I'm going to go to break. You don't go away. We'll be right back with Joe Sorello. Don't go away.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
Hi, everyone. It's Teresa from Tea Time. I have a show on every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on Channel 20. What's Tea Time about? Tea Time is about interviewing people in the entertainment industry, actors, producers, singers, dancers, magicians, MMA fighters, Donnie Most from Happy Days, and Butch Patrick from the Munsters, Kieran Sheehan, who played the lead in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, and so many more. So check out my show. It's fun, it's entertaining, and it's interesting. Hope to see you there.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook, Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love it. Welcome back to Tea Time. Thank you, John York from General Hospital. Thank you, Sal the Voice Valentinetti. I'm trying to get him on the show. The man is busy. He's a busy. He's going to be at the Paramount, and he's all over the place. And Gina from Rescuing Families. That's a nonprofit organization that helps families with people with disabilities. They renovate their homes. I am with Joe Cirillo. He is an actor. He's a writer. He was also a model. He was also a bodyguard. And you started out, your first job as a bodyguard was for who?
I think it was for Sinatra, yeah.
It was
So that they
Sinatra.
called me, they wanted me
Well,
to go.
I knew the answer. I want you to say it.
Yeah.
For Mr. Francis Sinatra.
And little did I know that in a couple of years from then, when I left the job, that I would actually get the security for Sinatra.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was weird.
And you, your first time you met him, he always stayed at the same hotel.
Yes, he stayed at
the
Waldorf Astoria, yeah.
And he always had the same room.
Right, I think it was the 35th floor.
And,
but
you know, when you were relieving someone, right, they left and you had to come in.
Yes.
Because, you know, someone did a night shift, someone did a day
Yes,
shift.
right.
And you show up and you're like, oh, I hope I meet him. And you kind of
Right.
said you saw feet walking
Right,
like shadows under the door.
Right,
and you were hoping. You were hoping.
And I was up all night just looking, and I know he went to sleep. And then in the morning, the door opened up. He leaned out to get the newspaper, and he said, "Good morning, kid." And the Hallelujah chorus.
The lights came down.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
The angel sang.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I was really
It's crazy, you know, when you
Sinatra fan.
When you know what it is when you grow up listening to someone.
Yes,
and
yes.
you idolize them, and you're like, oh my God, and then you're watching him in movies.
Yes, of course.
All right, and then you're outside his door.
Yeah.
And you weren't a stalker.
Yeah. The kid from 48th Street.
You
was
get
Frank
paid
Sinatra.
to watch him. This was great. I mean, how crazy was that, though?
Yes, it was really beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. I loved it.
And you actually, that's where you started. You kind of like, because what happened was in 1979, the police department passed this moonlighting.
Yeah, no, it was in 71.
Was
actually.
71, was it?
I believe it was 71.
Okay.
1970, 71.
It was around the early
we
70s.
couldn't moonlight up until
You weren't
then.
allowed to moonlight, which means a cop couldn't work a second job.
Right. We all did, though.
Well, on the QT,
yeah, of course.
a lot of cops did.
Yeah, because we had to supplement our salary.
Yeah, I mean, back then you
Yeah,
weren't making
I worked
much.
as a moving man. I did
You
everything.
drove
I did everything.
a taxi like twice,
Oh,
and after
forget it.
two
Oh.
bad incidences, you're like,
forget
I'm
it.
not doing
You're
this
right,
anymore.
right.
You know, but you really put yourself out there. You
Yes, I was
did a
always
lot
working.
of things.
Yes. You know, it's funny. A lot of times when I speak to people, and I tell them I was this, I was taxi, they say, yeah, you did all that. They can't believe it, so they think I'm lying.
Right.
But in reality, I think I've had almost every job. The only thing I don't remember
Imaginable.
doing is construction work.
Right,
I never
right.
did construction work.
Yeah.
But everything else, I was.
But then they said you can moonlight.
Yes, and that's when I got the. Mike Nichols said I could work as an actor. Yeah.
Right.
And I went on a set, and that was it. You know the rest. We just spoke about that.
Yeah, you basically
And then I started
on The Godfather.
Right,
And
and
then from there, you got
that-
other parts, other roles.
I really pursued it. You know, perseverance. I kept
That's
going.
his word. That's
Yes.
his word.
Yes, what I did was I kept going to different agencies. I kept going to a
Back
casting
then, you
office.
really hoofed it. I mean,
Oh,
you really
yes,
were
yes.
knocking on doors.
Yes, I did. And I befriended a lot of people. In fact, the motion picture TV office, they handle all the movies.
Right.
I volunteered my services in the summer free, so I could get to know all the people there. And from that, they gave me work.
You
when,
see,
yeah, so it worked out fine. Yeah, it was really good, really good. And even, and just real quick, I know it's a little later on. I remember when I retired.
Yeah.
And I retired on a Friday, and I had to pay for.
Oh,
the
this is a great story. You're going to tell
I
me.
had to
what-
pay for the subway, and I said, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
And I get home.
This is great.
I'm gone, and Monday morning I get up and I'm dressed. I'm going.
And your
out.
wife goes,
"Yeah, what are you doing?"
"Where you going?"
I'm going in the city. What do you mean you're going to the city? She says, "You're retired." I says, "I'm not retired." I says, "I'm going in. I'm going to go look for work. I'm going to go to agents. I'm going to go to casting office," and that's what I did.
Yeah.
And it really paid off. I made a lot of friends in the
You
business.
actually worked as a model.
Oh, I did a lot of modeling, yes.
And you did some magazine covers.
Yes, magazine covers.
You did some book covers.
Yes.
And the interesting part of it is that your daughter was with you.
Yes,
in
and yeah,
most
that
of
was- that's my
them.
daughter.
There's a picture, Bobby, of Joe carrying.
Oh, yeah, carrying my daughter.
Her
That
daughter,
was,
your daughter. You could throw that up
yeah, I was
if you could,
carrying
if you
it.
could find it. I think it says police investigation on top
Yeah,
of
something,
it or
police
something, right?
detective story or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
He's
my
gotta
daughter
find
did
it.
modeling with me. And I even had my
And
son.
actually, she was going to be in The Godfather.
Oh, yes,
and play
yes, that-
Maria.
You're right, yeah. That's
And what happened there? Because they
That
wanted
was-
someone who was
yes.
Italian, and they didn't go with someone.
No, I'll tell you the story. What happened was, I was friendly with the casting director.
Yes.
So he said to me, "Joe, do you know any people that want to work as extras and so on? Your kids, maybe?" I says, "Yeah, I'll bring my children and so on and so forth."
Right.
So now, when the time came, I went to his office, and I'm sitting there, and he's looking, he's writing. He looks up, and he says, "Maria," and I said, "No, that's my daughter, Darlene." "No, Maria." I said, "What do you mean, Maria?" He says, "We've been looking for her for this role."
Right.
And he got on the phone. He sent me over to Paramount Pictures.
Right.
And I spoke to one of the producers who also with casting. His name was Roos, Roos.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "She's perfect." Now, one day I'm home, maybe a week or so later, and I'm going to my brother's house in New Rochelle.
Yeah.
And my daughter calls me from home. And she says, "Dad, Francis Ford Coppola called." I said, "What?"
What?
Yeah, right. She said, "He wants me to go to his apartment."
Wow.
So I called my buddy who lived near me.
Yeah.
He picked up my daughter. I met him on the Grand Central Parkway, and I
Yes.
drove in, and I went to Francis Ford
When
Coppola's
Francis calls,
apartment.
you
Yes.
go.
And we were up there. It was very nice. And he said, I just wanted to meet you because I like to meet the people that are going to be working."
Wow.
So now, when the time came for her to work, I happened to be in that scene.
Yes.
And I saw Francis, and I says, "What happened?" I said, "My daughter was doing
Yeah.
this." And he says, "No," he says, "I'm sorry." He says, "Your daughter was not Screen Actors Guild. We had to use this girl." And then the best part of all, Francis Ford Coppola's mother's sitting in front of me.
Right.
And she says to her friends, "I told Francis he should have used the Italian girl." So my daughter never got the break.
That's how it goes. That's
Yeah.
how it goes. Did you find that pic, Bobby? The one of him carrying his daughter, and it says, there it
Yeah,
is,
that's
True
it.
Detective.
Yeah.
True Detective.
Yeah,
So
that's my
They
daughter.
put you on a couple covers, and
Oh, I
and
did a lot of covers.
You
yeah.
did a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good money too. You know the story about the.
Which
Should
one?
I tell that one?
Which one? There's a lot of good stories. Which one?
The one with the nudity.
Oh, yes. Let's tell the nudity story.
I've done many acting and of course modeling.
And this was for stills.
This was
These
stills. Yeah,
for
photographs.
Yeah, this was for a magazine.
Yeah, for a magazine.
Yes.
And probably love magazines,
Yes.
revealing romances, things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so they called me and they said, "Joe, we want you to come in a suit and tie."
Right.
And they gave me this address. It happened to be my precinct also.
Okay.
So I
2-0.
get there, yeah, in the 2-0.
Yeah.
And I'm there in my suit, and he said, "All right, we'll start taking pictures." He says, You're going to come into the apartment. She's going to greet you. You hug her and so on and so forth.
Right.
Anyway, eventually it ended up we're on the couch.
Right.
And so now.
And you're shirtless.
Yeah, I'm shirtless. I have my pants on.
Pants are on.
And the girl has a towel around her.
Right.
And they put us on the couch.
And wait, her mother was there.
Yeah, her mother was there.
Her mother was there
Yeah.
in the room.
Right.
We have to say that.
True. Yes, her mother was there in the room.
Okay.
And they tucked in the towels.
They pushed it
and
in.
then when the photo
Under
came
the
out,
boobage.
yeah, it looked like we were nude. Both of us were nude.
Right.
And I said, "Oh my goodness!" So
I
what
better
happened?
not tell my wife.
No, I'll
You
forget it.
said I can't tell my wife.
And what happened? My
What happened?
sister saw it in the magazine, and she came to my wife and said, "You let your husband do this?" And that was it. And then I started to tell her mother was there, and she said, "Yeah, and the priest too." True story. True story. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Print work obviously didn't take as long as being on set and stuff like that.
No.
I mean, they know what they want, they get the shot.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say print work, you're talking about a specific thing.
No, when you were doing something like that for a magazine.
Oh yeah.
or,
No.
yeah. Because that was like quick, just like
yeah,
a couple
that was
of
quick.
hours.
Yeah, 1
right?
hour. Oh, the one. One I couldn't believe it.
What?
You had me go in, and that one my wife never knew about.
Uh-oh.
I went in, and he says, "All right, we're just going to film you and her, this young girl, and you're going to be kissing."
Oh, this is the kissing. He had to
Kissing.
make out with this woman for an hour.
Kissing. Exactly. For 1 full hour, all we were doing is kissing and kissing. I said, "Oh my God!" And I said, "Oh, my wife ever sees this one." She never saw it though. Yeah. But that was a fun one.
That was fun for an hour.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Considering you never kissed anyone but your wife.
No.
You know, and we're going to say you were 22
When I got married.
and she was 19.
19, yes.
Yeah.
I was 22, she was 19. And
Yeah. And you started dating before you went into the service.
Yes, and
she
we got
said
engaged.
you said, wait for me.
Yes.
That's what they did back then.
Right.
And she did.
She did.
Right.
The only thing I didn't like was that I wrote her from Korea, from the front line.
Yeah.
I wrote her every day, and I got very few letters
Very
from her.
few from her, yeah.
And then when I got home, she had all my letters.
Well, actually, it takes a long time to get them.
Yeah, I guess.
They
yeah.
do. Because I remember when I was telling you about my
Yeah, it
Uncle
was-
Joe writing my grandmother.
Yes, you're right.
They took a long time to get
Yeah,
there.
right. They had an APO address or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was...
But she waited for you.
Yes.
You got married September 5th,
Right.
1954.
54. Right.
And you married a very long time.
Yes.
Yes. And she was very patient with
Oh,
you.
she let me go.
Because,
She let me chase my dreams.
Yeah, she
She
did.
really
And
did,
she stayed
yeah,
home with the
yeah.
kids.
She stayed home with the kids. I went to California, but I flew home every week.
Yeah,
know.
you did.
And then what happened, they found out I was flying home.
Yeah.
And the production manager called me in. He says, "You can't fly home." I said, "What do you mean I can't fly home?" He says, No. He says, "The insurance won't allow it because you're one of the major stars on the show. And if something happens to you..." So I said, "All right, I won't fly." Because I used to get my tickets from the office. They would
Okay.
get me the tickets cheaper.
Right.
And so I said, "Okay." I flew anyway.
Right.
I had to get home.
No, you had to.
I had to
go
get
home
home
and see
to
your
my
kids.
family,
No, I get
yeah.
it. I totally get it.
So-
And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take my last break, and then when we come back, we're gonna continue talking with Joe Cirillo. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Doc, who's the best comedian you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Teresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrow.
Doc, Who's your favorite guinea?
Teresa Farrell.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrell.
All right, Chuck. I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm with Joe Cirillo, author, actor, bodyguard, model, singer, artist, and an offer I couldn't refuse from NYPD to Hollywood. This is the book to get. It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle. It is a must read. It is amazing. It's jaw dropping. There's a couple of times, well, there was twice when I went like this. No, no. I just went like this. Just no. Just no, no, and no. No way. We have like 6 minutes left to the show, and next Monday you're going to watch part 2. But before, you know, and we're going to talk about him working for, again, a plethora. We're talking plethora of people here, from John Candy, Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, Barbra Streisand, Madonna, Pacino, Danny Aiello, Bon Jovi, again, Connie Francis, Jill Clayburgh, Woody Allen, Sean Young, who else? Alan Alda, Katharine Hepburn, Betty Davis. It goes on and on and on. Matthew Broderick.
Jerry Lewis.
Jerry
Jackie Gleason.
Lewis, Winona Ryder, Warren Beatty, Goldie Hawn. Hello, Bob freaking Hope, Don Rickles,
Right,
Mark
Bob
Wahlberg, Matt Dillon, Lou Ferrigno, Merv Griffin, Jay Leno, Al Roker, Letterman, John Ritter. The list goes on and on and on, people. And if you want to know more about them, you have to tune in next Monday at 8 o'clock. But we're going to talk about, in the last 5 minutes, you working for Telly Savalas.
Yes.
Because Telly became such a great friend to you.
Yes.
He employed you.
Yes.
He gave you work. You actually took care of his mom. His mom actually became like a second mom to you.
Yes, yes.
And his mom didn't like to fly.
No, no.
And he called you one day and said, could you pick up my mom in Garden City and drive her out to California for me?
Right, I did.
And you did that.
I drove from New York to Garden City area.
Garden City area.
And I drove all the way over to California.
Right.
The strange part, or what I hated, was that she had a relation, either brother-in-law or something,
Right.
follow us
Follow
and back
you
them.
there, yeah.
So all the way driving, I had to keep an eye on them, and they were slow,
Right,
so I had to slow down. So
Right.
imagine going cross country.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then what happened in Grand Junction, Colorado,
Right.
they broke down. So we called for a tow truck, and we towed to the garage, and the owner's a Greek.
Greek. So
Greek.
Telly Savalas gets on the phone with him.
Right, exactly.
And he
so,
says, I take care of everything.
exactly.
And then they hopped in your car
Yeah, and then we went on.
and you drove the
continued
rest of the way.
back. Yes.
You also flew with Telly's son.
Oh yeah, I took him. Telly, he was doing a movie in Escape to Athena.
Yes, and we could just say that Telly's son was very hyper.
Yes, he was very hyper young
He did
boy.
not like to sit still, this
No,
kid.
he couldn't sit still. And all the way, Telly called me up in the office. He was out there in Athens. Actually, he was on the island of Rhodes.
Yeah.
And he called me. He says, "Joe, pick up Nicholas and bring him out here." And that's what I did. I picked up the kid, and then
And he was
all
running
the way,
around all over the plane.
We were first class, all over the plane. The stewardess.
The
kept
stewardess
coming
was
to me.
saying, you have to control this
I
kid.
couldn't believe it. And then when we get to Athens, I'm sleeping and I hear a big loud crash, and he broke the sink in the brand new hotel. It's on the floor, crushed. And I couldn't believe it, and I didn't say a word. I just the next day I flew out to the island of Rhodes to meet Telly. Never said a word, but I don't think they would have charged
So
him.
one of the reasons why I dropped this book and I went, no way.
Wait a minute,
was-
let me say something.
Go ahead.
I think you're the only person that I met that read it so fast.
I read it in 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
I read this in 2 days.
Wow.
and I finished
know
it
you
today.
see, you're very knowledgeable of what's
I
in.
threw the book down because, I'll tell you why. Him being an artist and able to copy things, you were able to get Telly Savalas's autograph down
Oh, yeah, yeah.
to the T.
Yes, yes,
where
yes.
only you and Telly and his wife
Yes, she knows.
knew the difference with signatures, and you, my friend, were what with his fan mail?
Yeah, I used to, if I was in the office, I would sign everything, Who Loves Your Baby, With a Kiss, whatever, and sign Telly's name. I put a lollipop in, I mail it to the fans.
Right.
And even on the set, Telly, you know, people wanted autographs, and Telly would say to me, Joe, write a few, and I do that also. So one day I'm in Las Vegas with Telly's wife, and we're in a memorabilia store, and I asked the proprietor, I said, do you have any Telly Savalas photos? He says, yeah. He opened the book, and he says, it's $175. I said, $175? That's not his signature. She said, what do you mean? How do you know that? I said, I was his right-hand man. He says, well, that's his signature. I says, no, it's not. I says, wait a minute. I guess Telly's wife is right here. So I called Julie. She came over and she looked. I said, Julie, look at this picture. She said, that's not my husband's signature. So
Isn't that crazy?
we're right. But it
Isn't
wasn't
crazy?
mine either.
So this blew my mind. It blew my mind because I'm thinking how many fans are out there thinking
Yeah,
they really have
it's
Telly
true.
Savalas' signature.
true.
And it's yours.
I'm probably hundreds. And I did it perfect. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I so appreciate you coming in and taking this time talking to me.
I am
I'm looking
enjoying it.
forward to part 2.
All right.
We're going to do part 2. And you're going to see it next Monday at 8 o'clock. And we're going to talk about all these celebrities, including Joe Piscopo, Jackie Gleason, Art Carney, Tom Hanks, the list goes on and on and on and
Jerry
on and on,
Lewis,
people.
yeah.
Jerry Lewis, God rest his soul, and so many others. So, you know what? I had a great time.
I did too.
We're going to
Yeah.
continue to have a great
Definitely,
time. And
definitely.
you're going to have to tune in next Monday at 8 o'clock to watch part 2 with Joe Cirillo. In the meantime, follow Joe Cirillo on Facebook. It's Cirillo. I want to thank everyone for watching tonight. Shout out to everyone that was watching. Please like the show. Please share it. And make sure you tune in next Monday night for part 2 with Joe Cirillo because there's so much more we're going to talk about. Everyone stay well. Tell everyone you love them. And I'll see you next week, everybody. Ciao.
Bye.